I believe this is happening. So that is very, very, very good news. I believe this microphone is going to work out okay. It may not be completely awesome, but it will be okay. And with any luck, YouTube tells me that I'm live. So I'll just verify that here for a second. And so great. All right. So I should also be live on Facebook. And with any luck, I am. But I haven't completely verified that yet. I think that's okay. And I should also be live on Periscope. So anyway, I just thought I'd check in from where am I? I am at my new favorite coffee shop, which is Cafe Amazon, here in Jomtien Beach, which is right there, right in front of us. And I was sitting kind of at a bench, like basically that one right there. How do I do this? Yeah. And I figure I'm not really invading that person's privacy because they're just on the phone and I'm only getting sort of a silhouette of them, so didn't feel too weird about it. This is the front-facing camera on my... I was wondering about that. I was actually thinking to myself, Missy, I thought, I'm like, this is around the time that I did it last time, and hopefully she'll be able to check in because it is 8 p.m. where you are, right? So yeah, 11 o'clock Bangkok or Thailand time. So what am I doing? So I am, after a few trials yesterday, I believe what I've done is I've been perfected, at least for the most part, the ability to live stream with my $160 laptop on free internet using free software to 3 locations basically. So through Facebook, through YouTube, and through Periscope. And so that's pretty cool. And then hello, cool beans. Now the other nice thing too is that what this does is that actually I don't know if I can share what it did just do though. Unfortunately, is that it because I'm using Skype actually from a call next to me. I'm using Skype from a phone next to me to basically get this image right there. So in any case, what's happening is that means that the Skype call is potentially not working. So in any case, it may or may not be working. But regardless, I've got some degree of picture-in-picture going. And with any luck, the audio from Skype isn't distracting, and there's no feedback, and we're doing this okay. So I'm also using my Bluetooth headset, which has imperfect audio, but nonetheless. Anyway, I'll stop complaining about the imperfections and say hello to you all. So Cafe Amazon is where I'm at right now, and the main reason is because of this free plant that they put on my desk. No. So I'm just over here in Jomtien, which is simply a beach south of Pattaya, and I'm over here for a couple more days. Over here, I'm going to go see my buddies at a meeting here in about an hour, so I'll probably check out here in about 15 or 20 minutes, but I just wanted to check in for a quick live stream. And kind of talk about one of the things that came up yesterday. I'm walking around, and I am incredibly proud of you, Missy, for keeping paperwork organized. I have a buddy of mine that, if you guys don't know, one of the statements that you'll hear in 12-step programs is that I'm powerless over, right? And so people will make the statement like I'm powerless over alcohol, or I'm powerless over debt, or I'm powerless over sex, or I'm powerless over whatever. And that's sort of like step 1, right? And so one of my buddies, he always says, I'm powerless over taxes, paperwork, ice cream, and chocolate chip cookies. So I always laugh when someone says, I finally did my paperwork, because it's no fun, right? Like right now, for example, me and my business partner are doing a business plan, and business plans are absolutely no fun. Cashing checks that your business generates is fun, but our business plan is not done, and it needs to be done. Um, but anyway, so that'll get done eventually. But that's awesome. I am proud of you because I know how not fun that is. I don't get too proud of people when they're like, dude, you should be so proud of me. I just went to Disneyland for like a week. Congratulations. Um, so anyway, so I'm over here. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about is excuses. So I meet this guy yesterday, who my friend knows here. An organizational guru. Good for you. I outsource that to people like you who have that skill set who potentially enjoy doing it because I'm not good at it. I identified my strengths, I identified my weaknesses, and I outsource my weaknesses to people who have those as strengths. Delegation. So I meet this guy. He's referred to as Ice Cream Ray. And he's called Ice Cream Ray because he spent a lot of his time in the U.S. driving an ice cream truck. And he would save up his money, and then he would come over here to Thailand to vacation. So he's over here, and a lot of the money that he would spend on food would go to Western food, right? So he would go to these like all-you-can-eat buffets, for example, at the Hilton. And there would be a lot of Western food, right? So like high fat, high sugar, and that sort of thing. And so, like pancakes and bacon and eggs and that sort of things that Thais, for the most part, don't eat. About around less than a year ago, he has a heart attack. Has 4 stents put in. And so we see him yesterday. Eddie, my buddy, introduces me to him. And he goes, yeah, I've had 4 stents put in. And then, we're chatting. One of the comments that he made was, yeah, I don't eat 4 hamburgers a week anymore. I eat 2. And I'm like, oh, you used to eat 1 per stint? I mean, but the interesting thing is that sadly, one of the guy's excuses why it took him so long to figure out the best way to find medical care was because of all the conflicting misinformation he was getting on the internet by so-called experts. I said, well, here's where I go for my medical expertise. Doctors. And then, like many people you probably heard say even long before the internet was around, he goes, doctors don't know anything. Now, it's been my experience that people who make the statement, oh, doctors don't know anything, are not MDs. And so that's tantamount to people coming up to me and saying, oh, God, you electrical engineers don't know anything about calculus. Maybe. Not unless I graduated with a C- average, which is not allowed, by the way. To get an engineering degree, you can't get anything less than a B. Anyway, my judgment of this man was just around excuses. But the reason I bring that up is what I've discovered is after some travel and after being an expat for a while, or interfacing with expats. And by that, I don't mean just like in the last couple months. I'm talking about ever since I was going down to Mexico and hanging out with people that have changed their lives significantly and they are like retired, right? They make up excuses a lot more, which was really sort of weird. And I would, it's kind of like one of these people that say, "Oh man, if I won the lottery, I wouldn't know what to do." And I would be like, "Dude, if I win the lottery, I have a very detailed plan that I'm going to execute on based on the dollar value." He'd be like, "Oh man, if I retire, I don't know what I'm going to do." I have more items on my to-do list now than I did when I had a full-time job, and I had items on my to-do list for my full-time job. Now, the cool part is that most of the items on my to-do list are things I want to do and things that I get to do. That's the other thing, too, is my perspective I've discovered on things that I have to do. I've sort of transitioned my viewpoint on that. I'm wearing a new set of glasses on that, and as far as I'm concerned, I get to do that. I get to pay taxes. Now, that's also been sort of the impetus for that has also been the fact that I've been traveling over here and by that I mean sort of Southeast Asia, where one could argue there are a higher density, higher population of people that have less, especially in some areas of the Philippines. you go over there, and if you cannot leave that place and use the statement, "I have 0 problems today," then you either have no vision or no heart, or you don't potentially have a U.S. passport. Let's say that. So I'm looking at through my glasses, okay? And it was really eye-opening, and a lot of people will just go down to Mexico and have a very similar experience, right? So the thing about making excuses, I find that I think the majority of people that make excuses have means, and I think if you have means, then I think somehow that translates into higher expectations. And I think that even though this guy didn't have a ton of financial means, he had the means and the rights, I guess, that you get afforded by having a U.S. passport and have the ability to travel. And one of the things that he did actually was he was over here at the hospital, and instead of getting any medical treatment here, he went and got a second opinion. This is smart. But then he flew back to the United States, and I believe he's over 65, so he was able to get Medicare, a system that he'd been paying into his whole life, so it's fair, to get his heart surgery. But the downside is that one of the other excuses, at least again based on my judgment that I heard him making, was that his doctors are not here, and so therefore he doesn't need to take care of himself and eat right because he's got essentially no accountability to them. And I was just like, that's such a drag. And he's like, yeah, but I know guys that are like my age and people that are older than me, and they've had like more than 4 stints, and they've had this. And I said, yeah, no kidding. And I said, I also know a lot of other people that are older than everyone standing here, and they're in great health. I refer to those people as my parents, and they're sort of my goal to be in my 80s and still driving and walking at the beach every single day in New England when there's feet of snow and minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit. And still swimming and taking care of themselves and being grateful for every single day. So anyway, that's what I want to do. I want to make less excuses. I want to take more advantage of life, and I want to be grateful, because what I've discovered is when I get grateful, then I get on the path. And when I'm on the path, then I get the gifts, right? And so someone's judging me over here, which is really good. And I believe it's a Thai person. It's always interesting to sort of hear people's see people's reactions to me. It's like, oh my God, you have a YouTube channel? Yes, I do, and I have no subscribers. No, I have subscribers. I have like 694 actually. I just checked, which is really cool. Cold in Michigan now. Filipino daughter and wife are. I would submit that chilly is an understatement. They're probably like, why did I marry this guy? Although I'll tell you, every time I've been to Michigan, the people that I interface with there are awesome. So I'm sure it's a pretty simple answer for her. So kudos to you, sir, CB. Yeah, but I know I grew up in Boston, and so did Missy, another one of the people that's been chatting here on the broadcast. We both grew up just south of Boston. It's very chilly here. Right now, I am at a coffee shop called Cafe Amazon. I am at the beach in Jomtien, which is technically still Pattaya, and it is in Thailand. And I'm here at this location, in this sort of part of Thailand for another day, and then tomorrow I cruise back to Bangkok. It is about a 2.5, 3-hour drive that someone else is doing for me, thank God. I'm taking a bus. I'm taking what's called a VIP bus. So instead of like 2 and 2 rows, there's 2 and 1 row. So the seats are a little bit bigger. There's a restroom in back. There's air conditioning and there's Wi-Fi. It costs 119 baht, which at today's current exchange rate is approximately $4 for a 3-hour bus ride, and they give you a little bottle of water. So that's not too bad. And actually, it takes me to, it can either drop me off like at the bus stop, like where they have it, or it'll drop me off at a BTS stop, which for those of you that are from Michigan or Detroit, specifically cities that have subway like public transit, so Boston or whatever, it's the equivalent of dropping me off like at the T or the L. So anyway, and so that'll be great. So that'll be really easy. And then from there, the excitement for me will be going to IKEA. And I get to go buy sheets for my new king bed. So retirement is a non-stop party. Oh, guys, June is here. And I will tell you, June, when I woke up this morning, I thought, I shouldn't do a live broadcast. Like, no one will be up. And then I'm like, you know what, though? I bet if I do one, there's a possibility that June will swing by. So there you go. I can stop the broadcast now because I have basically fulfilled my smiles for this morning. Or at least for my morning. It's your evening. And plus, I'm here to report to you that there's no more coronavirus because I'm from the future. I am from Friday morning. And so, yeah, that's all been cured. So you guys are still in Thursday, so don't worry about it. You still got another 24 hours of fake news, and then it'll all be... I'm not going to get into that. It is frustrating. It is... you are not chopped liver. What do you mean, why am I chopped liver? I don't understand why you said that. No, I'm kidding. You are hardly chopped liver, Missy. But June and I got to fist bump on a regular basis for 14 years, over the last 14 years. So while I love you, I am in love with June. June has worked at the University of San Diego, correct me if I'm wrong, 41 years. So that's pretty awesome. A lot of respect. Gracie is from, I want to do this right. So the short answer, she's from Hamandan, which is a city, which is in, I believe, the province of Aklan, which is on the island of Panay. I believe I got that correctly. Yeah, so Bohol. So we cruised over actually to Bohol, the island, meaning we were like in Panglao, right? And so we went over to Alona Beach. So great. So now I have two white women. No, actually, two women from the U.S. jealous of my attention, which is ridiculous. Since both of you know me, you know how much love I have to go around to a lot of people. So here's the thing. Let me tell you guys about Missy. So I'm living on this. We grew up together, like literally grew up together. So I moved to this house when I'm 2.5. Missy and her family moved in when she was 6. And it was, I mean, I know this is going to sound like kind of silly, but it wasn't like a romantic, but it was love at first sight. And here's what I mean by that, is that we I actually just thought about this, Missy. It was sort of like, it was love at first sight in the sense that like we both had a desire to like have fun, right? Like it was just like, okay, like, I mean, we didn't really acknowledge it back then. I mean, I don't think we had like life coaches and we journaled about it. But it was like, hey, you know what? Life is really fun. Like, let's make the most of it. And so because of that, and because of the age we were, and because we were growing up, we got into trouble. But yeah, that's really cool. That's really neat. You know, and here's the real bummer about there not being like YouTube and Facebook and videos and all that stuff back then. Is Missy, we don't have video of when we filled your father's Audi up with water because we had the hose going to the ventilation on the top, like where it's right beneath the hood. Hello, sorry, cop. And we didn't realize that it would go in, and then it got all over the floor. I can't remember how we got all the water out. The week. Do I remember the week that we tried to be boyfriend and girlfriend? I don't remember the days, so I'm sorry. I didn't etch those. I actually have a tattoo in my lower left buttons. kidding. I remember us doing it at some point, but yeah, that was around the whole like pseudo Jim Harvey time, right? I said, you don't remember the Audi, dude? Oh, come on. Oh man, your dad was gracious, right? And understandable. But that was funny. We had a love for boating, which was really cool. Yeah, definitely. But yeah. Well, okay, now you can refer to it as middle school, but don't forget if you grew up in Hingham, it's junior high. We didn't call it middle school back then. We weren't that sophisticated. We had elementary school, we had junior high, and then we had high school. So anyway, yeah, that's really cool. So great memories. So what's interesting, right, is that I'm over here in this whole like new thing, and so to let me scroll back through here to CB's point, going to the island of Bohol. Rob Moriarty on the whaler. I've interfaced with Steve Moore, if you remember him. And he and Rob, I believe they labeled one another as best friends to now in like 2020. But yeah, I have not seen, I've seen like a picture of Rob, I think, when he was at our high school reunion for the class of 86 over in Hull at that one place that I think Hadley Donaldson was like part of throwing the party or something. I think they also had ones over at the South Shore Country Club, but yes, and definitely Brian Larson. Brian I actually interface with occasionally via text, and then I will see him sometimes when I come over the summers. But Steve Moore, I will sort of update him on things, and he and I will chat via Facebook, much like you and I do. And so what's interesting, what happens is that I get this connection loss thing between my phone, which is the background that you're seeing, which the phone is literally like 8 inches to the right, which is a connection via Skype, and that is providing this background picture. And the reason I'm doing that is because I need to also sort of test live a solution to having a guest on, right? And so basically what we would be doing is we would sort of take, each of us would sort of be like this size, right? And then the second guest would possibly be, the second guest would be like here, right? And so we would be like, guest one, guest two, and then we would sort of be, like talking like this, something like that. So that's the only reason. And then the other thing too is, with the software you can decide like which one has the priority, right? And then you can do fades and that sort of thing. So it's pretty cool, and it's free. So that's the right price. And actually, the reason there's no longer any motion behind you there is because the Skype call actually dropped out. But as I look at the software that I'm using right now, I see that it's hitting between 50 to 60% CPU utilization here on my little laptop, and so that makes sense. So either the thing or that. But anyway, so the whole excuses thing, I guess I'm making excuses now, right? Aren't I? I'm making excuses for my lack of spending actual capital. The live stream looks like an 80s music video. That's cool. Like Take On Me by because that was a good music video. Or One Night in Bangkok by Murray Head. Ooh, relevant and timely based on my location. You see what I did just then? Nice. So that's not good. Thank you very much. Yeah, I dug the music of the 80s. Actually, I mean, to be honest, I actually also love EDM, the current music. So, anyway, so thank all of you guys for joining in Missy, I'm totally stoked. You were definitely the first one here, and you made me smile big time. So, dude, I don't take it lightly that you joined. Thank you very much, and you joined via Facebook. So thank you so much. June, it's always great to see you. Jay International. Before I go, if you are still there and you wouldn't mind commenting, 80s music references. We are old. I'm not old. I am experienced. How's that? Jay International, remind me, are you the gentleman who has done some videos near Ceylon and potentially reached out to me and said, hey, we should meet up? Because if that's the case, Sunday will be over near, you know how on Sundays they block up the whole street and they do the Ceylon Road. Well, what do they call it? They call it Walking Street, basically, and then they do the it's just like a giant, night market, right? There's tons of food and everything. So anyway, Sunday night I'm going to be over there. So I'm down in Pattaya now, and I'm going to cruise up to Bangkok. I'll be there tomorrow. But then Sunday Sunday evening, I'm going to be over there. You're near on Nut. Okay, dude. So I just left the base, Park West. I was staying over on Nut for the last month. That's crazy. If you saw me walking down the street talking into my hand, and you thought, whoa, that guy needs a meeting. But I just moved from there. Actually, I'm down 2 stops to Punawiti, and I'm living, or going to be living, in a condo opposite Sukhumvit 103 near True Digital Park. So do me a favor, if you wouldn't mind, shoot me an email or something, because chatting through YouTube, I don't know about you, because I know you have a YouTube channel and you produce videos. I probably get 80% of the notifications that people leave me messages. It bums me out. Anyway, shoot me an email. You can either find my thing on the YouTube channel, where you hit about, or it's just livemyassoff@gmail.com. It'd be totally cool to meet up if you're over that way. Also, if you're into, Jay International to that point, it starts today, actually, and it goes through Saturday and Sunday, the Japan Expo. I went 2 years ago. It's over, I want to say Siam Paragon, but that's not the right name of it. It's the mall on the opposite side of Terminal 21. I think that's right. Anyway, regardless, it's the mall right there at BTS. No, I'm sorry. It is Siam Paragon, and it's the mall right next to the Siam stop. Where the Ceylon and the Sukhumvit line, one's right above each other, and you sit there and you wait and you look out over sort of the entryway to Siam Paragon. Yeah. So at least that's where it was 2 years ago. So the Tokyo Expo, the Japan Expo. If you're into that, I'll be doing that Sunday day. So anyway, livemyassoff@gmail.com. It'd be awesome to connect with you, man. Let's see what's going on. So, yeah, actually, that's where I saw it. I was on BTS, and they had, one of those QR code things, and so I scanned it, and I was like, oh, cool, I definitely want to check that out. The reason I found out about it the last time I was there, which, as far as I recall, it was when I was there, in September, so I'm not quite sure why it slid. This might be a different kind, or potentially I just don't remember it, and I was, in fact, there in January. But my dad let me know about it. My dad watches a TV network out of Tokyo. It's all in English, and they report on world events. And it's nice. It's one of those news outlets that's like data and fact, and it's the Japanese, right? So if you've ever watched the Japanese in a business meeting or whatever, they're like. And I've tried to present to the Japanese and crack jokes from the stage. It is not happening. Now afterwards they'll hug you and they'll talk to you one-on-one, but they're just it's awesome. I mean, it's just fantastic. But anyway, so they're very appropriate. They're very incredibly well mannered. They're very well educated. These are the presenters. I think it's NKT or something like this. Anyway, he let me know about it from there. So yeah, so that's where I saw it, was the ads on the BTS. So Japan Expo. Happening in Bangkok today, Saturday, and Sunday, and hopefully we'll connect and we can see each other over there. So anyway, thanks a lot for everyone who watched. I will figure out a better solution to this background thing and see if I can't get a better. I'm probably the bottom line is I'm going to not do it over using the internet and that sort of thing. I will I'll figure out a way to plug a USB camera into this. That'll be good. Find cool seashells and send them your way. Okay. You know what's interesting about, and the reason I say okay, here's why, is because cool seashells are in New England. They don't have a whole lot of cool ones over here. And I don't know whether that's because of the latitude, the tropics kind of thing, or just the shellfish over here, you know, like clams and that sort of thing. They're tiny. Like, you know, they don't get like the quahog deals, right, that we used to get. But that's a good thing. I'll think about that because, of course, now that you've said that, that would be in my mind. CB, Gracie is back home in Hamanda for a couple reasons. One is that in January of every year, she takes care of her life for the year. And so what I mean by that is she takes care of all of her business stuff. So she pays her business license, she pays her business insurance, she pays her taxes. For the entire year, she front loads it because it's very reasonable. She also pays her personal Social Security a year ahead of time. So she doesn't have to do it every month, and she pays her Phil Health for the entire year ahead of time. So she takes care. I will definitely send pictures of the beaches that I walk on, and hopefully I'll find. I say, oh my God, I was completely wrong. They say there are great shells here. So she's there. Now that's the main reason that she's there, CB. The second, well, okay, so that's the sort of planned reason. The other reason is the fact that she has a Philippine passport, and so she can come to the Philippines. She can come to Thailand with a 30-day non-visa exempt stamp, right? Just like a lot of us can. And then, you know, shortly thereafter, we go to immigration. And for 1,900 baht, she gets a 30-day visa extension, so she can stay here for 60 days. Now, she can get a visa, a tourist visa. However, she was going to go home and needed to go home in January anyway. And so she can basically do the visa exempt 30-day tourist stamp kind of thing, and come over here, you know, basically 3 or 4 times a year. She's 35, and so she doesn't get the sort of options that, you know, us 50-year-old dudes do, which is like, look, if you're over 50, then we kind of expect you to retire. Whereas if she for her to get a visa to come over here, they look at her and they say, okay, well, you're able-bodied and you're educated and you have your own business, which means there's a chance that as a Filipina, you're going to come over here and say, wait, I can generate more revenue in Thailand. So there would be the concern that she might not leave and she would take a job away from a Thai person. So there would be that challenge, whereas it's like, okay, you come over here and like you constantly spend money as a tourist. We prefer that relationship a lot better. Jade International, my wife is from Laos. It is Lao or Laos. I never know which one. Anyway, regardless. Now a U.S. citizen, but she used to have a similar visa situation as part of the ASEAN community. Yeah, where I'm sort of crossing my fingers and waiting on this ASEAN visa, which would be really great. Kind of like a Shenzhen visa, right, where they can sort of travel within their respective countries. The ASEAN, for those of you that are on the broadcast that don't know that, ASEAN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. And talk about a market that is ever expanding. Did I say 50? I'm sorry. Trust me, I'm keenly aware I'm 51. But the retirement visa is for those of us 50 and older. So, yeah, I'm 51. And I'll be 52 in... and if you don't know my birthday, I am crushed, bro. Fear not, I don't know yours. So she'll be, so the plan is, and if you don't know, CB, so we basically, we sort of architect our lives about, you know, anywhere from 3 to 6 months out. So we have her ticket to come back here, and we also have her ticket to leave here, right? Because, of course, to fly back in, then she also needs to have a ticket that says she's leaving. And then I just pay it's an extra $20 in Cebu Pacific to get one of those flights that you can change for no additional cost. $20. March 6th. Ouch. You're killing me, Missy. March 23rd. And my password is, my social security number is, no. So she comes back at the end of February. And then we'll head over Ah, very nice. Thank you. Written down at your office. I appreciate it. She has it scheduled to leave. She has to have a ticket basically to come in that says, "Hey, I'm flying out of here in 30 days," so she can get the 30-day stamp. But then, actually, within her being here about a week or two, we just go over to immigrate. Now, we did in the past. We went to immigration in Pattaya, which is a cakewalk. This next time will probably be in Bangkok. There's no guarantee we may be traveling. So for all I know, we may be down in Pattaya. We may be, the nearest immigration office may be in Krabi. So who knows? I would prefer it to be in a smaller location because then it would be easier. But we'll see. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Bangkok's easy, and I'm just projecting. I'm just criticizing. I'm complaining, which is why I started this video to chastise those people that do that. Offboarding at the airport. The RP government getting more. Yeah, I get that. Honestly, the chatter that I have seen and heard on YouTube, I have not experienced any difference in my spending power, immigration, the airport, that sort of thing, since I started coming here 7 years ago. To be fair, when I first came here, the exchange rate was 29 to 1. And as of yesterday, when I checked, it was 30.9. So it's almost 31. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, when I first came here, within the first year, I got a B visa. My next visa was an O visa, and now I have an OA visa, which is effectively a retirement visa. And I play by the rules. I don't have the expectation that I should go to my U.S. Embassy and raise my hand and basically lie and say, yes, I have this money. You need to grant me an affidavit that says I do, even though I don't. I told them and proved to them that I do, in fact, have money in the bank based on their requirements. And my opinion is that if you don't have 800,000 baht available to you at age 50, then you should not be traveling at all. You should be working your ass off until you can get that amount of money times 4 saved up somewhere, so you can have a little bit of cushion. Because if not, then by the time you get to 65, it's going to be a hell of a lot harder. In my opinion. Okay? Don't take my financial advice because I don't save well, but I've done. So anyway, guys, it's 11:37. I'm going to walk down the street, go to my meeting, hang out with some buddies, and thank you so much for doing this. I'm going to hit the replay of this. This will obviously upload and be available later on Facebook, later on YouTube, and later on Periscope. Please leave some comments. Please let me know how I can do this better. If you liked this, please share it with someone else. If you disliked it, please let me know how I can do better. Hope you're living the dreams. If you're not living the dream, you're doing it wrong. And that means you're probably not at a beach somewhere. And they're easy to find. Ciao.